It is Monday, the end of March already. Here's what we're working on this morning. Thousands of people are still without power after parts of Ontario were pummeled with freezing rain all weekend.
Niagara police have identified the suspect linked to a stabbing in St. Catharines.
And the Leafs hold off to beat the Anaheim Ducks.
Back to bed.
Very good morning to you, Emily Taylor. Nice to have you joining us for the next few days.
Good morning.
And Brian.
Morning.
The weekend didn't quite turn out as the forecast predicted. Not as warm, but at least we were spared the ice.
Yeah, you know, thankfully. I mean, we
Yes.
got, at least here in southern Ontario, as far as the horseshoe is concerned, we really dodged that because they got hammered to the north of us.
Yes.
But yeah, they flip-flop on the forecast a couple of times throughout the latter part of last week into the weekend. So, you know, like we got to 2 degrees on Saturday. That was the forecast high. Yesterday we sat around 4 degrees, but then the temperature spiked up with the warm front. We got to 14 degrees at midnight last night. We've come down a little bit right now. We're sitting at 12, and we're going to continue to fall today. We should hit 3 by later on this afternoon, and then be in the minus column tonight. So end of March and things really on a roller coaster ride. We are getting some showers in the area right now. Showers are in the forecast for particularly this morning, but don't look to see much sunshine for, well, maybe tomorrow we'll see some sun, but not for today. Talk about it coming up. We're sitting, as I said, at 12 degrees right now. Looking at traffic, 403 Waterdown Road. Start with our exclusive camera. No problems there. You are seeing some raindrops coming down at the moment. To some MTO traffic cameras. Centennial Parkway, nothing there. Top of the Burlington Skyway Bridge. As the showers continue through here and all the way through Appleby Line. There's no problem in traffic, but it's just the wet roads this morning. So take it carefully, please. We'll look at weather and traffic coming up in a few minutes. Right now, the news.
Okay. Thanks very much, Brian. Well, hundreds of thousands of people across parts of Ontario are still without power this morning for a third day after being hit hard with freezing rain. Now, in Burlington, people were on culvert watch all weekend because of rain. Simone Gavros joins us with more details. Good morning.
Good morning, Annette. Well, here in Burlington, all eyes were on this culvert behind me to see if it might overflow. In the past, it's typically plugged with debris, but it has been mitigated to prevent this from happening. And right now, water is just flowing through it just fine, and the debris level is very minimal. So no reports of any flooding here in Burlington, but that wasn't the case in other parts of Ontario. We did see that thousands are still without power in Orillia, Peterborough, and Muskoka, and all 3 have already declared a state of emergency there. Now here's a look at the outage map that is provided from Hydro One that shows the nearly 400,000 homes and businesses have been without power at its peak. Crews have been working around the clock to restore power as quickly as possible, and this has been since Saturday. Now nearly 360,000 others are already back online. School boards in Kawartha and Peterborough are closed for today because of the ice storm damage. Meantime, electric utilities say that they are still working to restore power to about 18,000 customers in Barrie, Penetanguishene, and Richmond Hill. They warn that some customers will likely be without power today. Now, we were receiving some photos from this ice storm. Marisa from Gravenhurst sent in this photo of the ice near her. All that ice was heavily destructive, coating tree branches, wires, and just weighing them down. Environment Canada now says that this storm is moving east to New Brunswick and parts of PEI. Now, residents are being asked to be careful around the area, especially if they see any downed power lines. If you do see that, you're asked to stay about 10 meters back, and that's messaging from Electra and Hydro One. For now, things back over to you, Emily.
Thanks, Simone. An inquest is set to start this morning into the death of a woman shot by Hamilton police 7 years ago. 30-year-old Robin Garlow died in October of 2018 after a shooting that became the subject of a police watchdog case. 2 Hamilton officers responded to reports of a woman with a knife in an apartment at King near Wellington in central Hamilton. The Special Investigations Unit concluded there were no grounds to charge the officer who shot Garlow. The inquest, which is mandatory because Garlow died in an interaction with police, is expected to last 4 days.
Niagara police have identified a suspect linked to a stabbing in St. Catharines. 30-year-old Rohan Chandler is wanted for attempted murder. The incident happened around 4:30 yesterday morning on Niagara Street in St. Catharines between Church Street and Welland Avenue. A man was taken to hospital with life-threatening injuries.
With the federal election entering its second week, party leaders are traveling around the country pitching why they should lead Canada. At a stop in Toronto yesterday, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre promised to allow investors to defer capital gains tax if they reinvest the earnings in Canada. Capital gains are incurred when a person or business sells an asset like a stock or a piece of property. Right now, Canadians must pay capital gains on 50% of those earnings.
Our wages are down, our people cannot pay their bills, and we are more dependent on the Americans than ever before. One of the reasons is our very high capital gains tax, which punishes people for selling an old investment and reinvesting in a new one.
Poilievre also brushed off suggestions of campaign turmoil after several media outlets reported rising frustrations among Conservatives who want to see the campaign pivot away from attacks on the Liberal government and focus instead on how a Conservative government would handle Trump. In the meantime, in BC, NDP leader Jagmeet Singh announced a plan that might help some first-time homebuyers purchase their house.
Today, I'm announcing our plan to give first-time homebuyers public-backed, low-interest, fixed-term loans to buy their first home. It's never been done before, but if we can give loans to large, wealthy developers to buy buildings, to buy homes, why can't we give everyday families a break?
Also last night, Green Party leaders attended the Juno Awards, and Liberal leader Mark Carney was in Ottawa meeting with a local family, but had no events open to the media.
Here's where the main party leaders are at the start of week 2 of the campaign. Liberal leader Mark Carney is expected to make an announcement in Woodbridge and then will meet with volunteers and supporters in Halton. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is set to make his first campaign appearance in Atlantic Canada today with a rally in Fredericton, New Brunswick tonight. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh starts today in Victoria, BC. Then he heads to Edmonton for a rally. As for the Green Party, Elizabeth May is going to be in her BC riding, and Jonathan Pedno will be in Whitehorse. New Abacus polling puts the Liberals and Conservative neck and neck in the vote. The data shows each party has secured 39% of the committed vote among eligible voters. However, Abacus says among the people most likely to vote, the Liberals edge ahead by 2 points, giving them a slim but notable lead. The NDP are 1 point lower at 11%, while the Greens are also down at 3%. Voters head to the polls April 28th.
Elections Canada needs thousands of workers. It's hiring more than 200,000 people for temporary roles. There are a number of positions, each paying at least $20 an hour plus overtime. Most of the jobs are for people who are working at polling stations. Although the work is temporary, some of the shifts are long, up to 13 hours. You can't take part in political activities while being employed by Elections Canada in person or online. Elections Canada employees must be Canadian citizens and at least 16 years old.
In sports, we start with hockey as the Leafs took on the Anaheim Ducks.
Fighting off a check from Nesterenko, playing it to Camp, back to Benoit. David Camp's on it, taken down, he scores! Steven Lorentz with a deflection!
Steven Lorentz scored the tie-breaking goal with 8 minutes and 25 seconds to play as Toronto blew a 2-goal lead before rallying for a win over Anaheim, 3-2. Max Domi and Mitch Marner also scored, and Joseph Woll made 29 saves for the Atlantic Division leading Leafs. They won their second game in a row, and they're now 3 points ahead of Tampa Bay and the Florida Panthers. The Leafs host the Panthers on Wednesday.
Jets in transition. Connor shoots. He scores.
Kyle Connor had a goal and an assist to lead the Winnipeg Jets to their third straight NHL victory with a 3-1 win over the Vancouver Canucks. Connor reached 90 points for the second time in his career, 3 points off his career best. The victory also helped the Jets pad their leads in the Western Conference and Central Division, where they are 6 points ahead of the idle Dallas Stars.
Slavkovsky had to go off the heel of his stick. Hudson again in front, and they score this time. Suzuki gives Montreal a 3-2 lead.
Nick Suzuki scored to lead the Montreal Canadiens to a 4-2 win over the Florida Panthers. Patrick Laine, Brendan Gallagher, and Yurov Shavletsky also scored for the Habs.
Wilson's hovering in that spot, long occupied by TJ Oshie. Ovechkin fired. The counter turns over again.
Alex Ovechkin is now just 5 goals away from breaking Wayne Gretzky's NHL record after scoring the 890th of his career in the Washington Capitals' 8-5 loss to the Buffalo Sabres. The 39-year-old is now back on pace to pass Gretzky's mark of 894 that long seemed unapproachable. That could happen this spring. He has 37 this season and is on track to reach 40 for the 14th time, also the most in league history, despite missing 16 games because of a broken left fibula.
To Brown, back to Hamra, walking on, top of the slot is O'Brien, scores! Jake O'Brien whistles it home. Bulldogs have the 1-0 lead.
In the OHL playoffs, Jake O'Brien from the Brantford Bulldogs had the game winner as they beat the North Bay Battalion 3-0. Nick Lardis added another 2 goals, including an empty netter. Ryson Leenders made 21 saves.
In baseball, the Toronto Blue Jays finished their 4-game series against the Baltimore Orioles.
Full count. And he got him right down the middle with a 2-seam fastball to strand that runner out at second.
Chris Bassett pitched 6 innings to win his first start of the season, while George Springer hit a 2-run single as Toronto beat Baltimore 3-1. Tyler Heineman added a solo home run, his first, as the Blue Jays split the 4-game series with their East rivals. The Jays will host the Washington Nationals tonight.
All right, let's go into this Monday morning, last day of March. We're close to April now, and we are already getting some April showers here this morning, I suppose you could call it that. We'll talk about the forecast in a sec. First, looking at traffic. 403 and Waterdown Road. Traffic hasn't changed since the last time we checked it. Still getting some showers at the moment in some areas. Looking at our MTO traffic cameras, St. Catharines, roads are wet, but there's no volume whatsoever. Same with Centennial Parkway. Looking at Fairview Street, heading toward Brant. That looks good coming off the Skyway. Here's the Ford plant. It's a little bit busier here, but still moving nicely. Fair bit of spray coming off the tires, as you can see, getting some showers through here and some showers through Cawthra as well. So take it carefully on the roads. They are wet, and there are some fog patches in a lot of areas. Still fog advisories in effect for Peel and Toronto. There was one for Halton, but that has now been drawn. Look at the temperature, 12 degrees. Now that's come down a couple of degrees throughout the overnight. We were 14 at midnight. The winds are south-southwest at 27. The relative humidity is right up there at 100%. Moisture is just coating everything this morning. So for school today, it's going to be cloudy. We're going to get some showers on and off, particularly morning and early afternoon. And that is where the temperatures will go later on today. So I know it's nice and mild outside right now, but later on it's going to be cool, and those winds are going to pick up as well. Here's a look at the precipitation we've had over the past 6 hours. This is a loop, just keeps repeating. You can see still getting some freezing rain, which is the purple on this map, and that's pushing its way off into Quebec right now after the cottage country in eastern Ontario got slammed with it. So that's the low pressure system dragging the cold front. That's what's going to drop our temperatures as the day progresses. It's going to shift the winds around to the northwest and pull in a lot cooler air. And then we are looking at more instability by the time we get to Wednesday. After that ridge of high pressure gives us some sunshine for tomorrow. tomorrow. Temperatures today, this is where we're going. We'll hit 3 and 4 degrees by later this afternoon. There's that shower, particularly this morning and early afternoon, but cloudy. Tonight will be cloudy again. Temperature falling into the minus column. -2 for Hamilton and Brantford. With the wind, it'll feel like -8. So it's going to be a cold overnight with that wind. And then tomorrow, 4 and 5 degrees. At least tomorrow we'll have the sunshine back. It's been a while since I think we really saw an awful lot of it. But yeah, so sun and 4 and 5 degrees below seasonal for tomorrow. So out the door, last day of the month, it's mostly cloudy. It is mild at 12. Long range coming up. Annette, Emily.
Okay, well, coming up just a little bit later, we're going to say good morning to Louis Butko, actually. He's got a preview of what's to come in Chit Chat. And in business news, U.S. President Donald Trump's trade war is alarming markets around the world. We'll tell you what's happened this morning. You're changing things up all over the place here. So Louis is in for Emily this morning.
Well, not that Emily. This Emily.
Yeah, okay. Yes. Emily V.
Well, we got a busy day in Chit Chat. I have an interview coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, so we're looking forward to that. But we also had the Junos last night. We have the box office numbers, and Morgan Wallen drawing some controversy for his quick exit from Saturday Night Live. So we'll play the tape, and we'll get your opinion on whether or not.
I wondered why there was something at the end of the show. It was like, that's kind of weird.
Yeah. So we'll play the tape, and then we'll get your analysis on it in a bit in Chit Chat. So
analysis. Okay. Chit Chat analysis on the couch. We'll see you there.
See you in a bit.
Okay. Well, the Canadian dollar is down 20 basis points this morning, and overseas trading to 69.7 cents U.S. Gold is attracting a lot of safe haven investments because of all the global trade tensions. So it's up another $41 this morning. And crude oil is 42 cents higher to $69.78 a barrel. Midday trading in Europe, markets are down across the board. London, Frankfurt, and Paris with triple-digit losses in Germany.
Over in Asia, markets were down 1,500 points in Tokyo. Hong Kong and Shanghai also experienced losses. And in North American markets, the TSX lost just over 400 points. The Dow closed more than 700 points lower, and the Nasdaq dropped almost 500.
U.S. President Donald Trump says the reciprocal tariffs that he plans to unveil day after tomorrow are on the table for every nation. That's after his Treasury Secretary told Fox Business a bit earlier this month that the focus would be on those with the largest trade deficits with the United States. Trump also now says any deal related to the duties will come after they start. New 25% tariffs on imported vehicles are set to start Thursday. Trump says he, quote, couldn't care less if that increases vehicle prices in the States so long as more manufacturing comes to that country. A lot of economists predict that Trump's tariffs are going to raise prices and lower demand.
Tourism operators in Ontario's hotspots have been bracing for the fallout of the U.S.-Canada tensions, but instead they're seeing an uptick in demand that some attribute to so-called staycationers. However, experts warn that a booming summer travel season isn't guaranteed amid ongoing economic uncertainty. In Prince Edward County, business owners say bookings have increased at their cottage resort. Still, the president of the Tourism Industry Association of Ontario says Ontario destinations will face stiff competition from tourist areas across Canada and abroad.
An Ontario judge has rejected a Hudson's Bay restructuring deal, making it more likely that lenders are going to push the company into receivership. The judge says he declined to approve the agreement because it is, quote, neither necessary nor appropriate at this time. Now, the deal would have given senior lenders more control over the Hudson's Bay Company's creditor process and set an April deadline to save its remaining 6 stores.
All right, let's look at business news. We're going to take a quick break, and Brian will be back with traffic and your 7-day forecast.
And there's some sun in there. There is hope.
Really?
Good morning. Coming up on 624 on this Monday morning, last day of March, and we're looking at wet roads this morning. It might not be raining or showering at the moment, but the roads are wet, and you can see here at the QEW in Glendale, there's no volume whatsoever. Getting some showers here, top of the Burlington Skyway Bridge. Volume is getting a little bit busier now. Nothing at Appleby. It's just normal volume this morning at Lorne Park, and as you can see, still getting some showers all the way through here. Even the 403 west of Mississauga Road, going through Mississauga on the 403 is doing fine so far. So take it carefully. These roads could be a little slick because of that wetness. Check the temperature that we have right now. We're sitting at 12 degrees this morning. It was 14 at midnight, so the temperatures come down. 12 Hamilton, 11 Grimsby and Mississauga, 7 for Toronto, because Toronto's getting that south wind coming off the lake, and that's keeping their temperature subdued. So today, those are our sun times, records for today, and our seasonal daytime high now is 9 degrees, where we figure we should be, and -2 for the overnight low. And yes, we are looking at showers for the day. Showers for this morning particularly. The temperature for the first bell should fall to 9, and it's going to continue to fall to 3 by later this afternoon, and the skies are going to stay cloudy. So that's today, cloudy skies with showers. -2 tonight, wind chill -8, so it'll be a lot chillier tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, hey, we'll see some sunshine as we get into April. Finally some sun, and you better enjoy it tomorrow, because look what happens after that. 5 degrees tomorrow, 5 degrees and rain on Wednesday. And we spike up once again, 17 on Thursday with showers. Then we settle back in at 8, 7, and 6, and nothing but clouds throughout the week. That's forecast. Annette, Emily.
Okay, well, the cold, the rain, and the fog yesterday didn't bother the thousands of people who took part in this year's Around the Bay Road Race.
Held in Hamilton almost every year since 1894, the race is the oldest of its kind in North America. It's 3 years older than the Boston Marathon. Nearly 5,000 people competed in the 30-kilometer run around the bay and back, with some finishing with personal bests.
Another 30? No, just kidding. The last 5 were intense. I haven't done it before, so it's fun.
Well, those hills at the end, even that last little bridge, but good. Now I'm happy.
And at the age of 51, I just got a 9-minute best time at ATB. This is my 7th time, and it's my fastest, so I beat my 43-year-old self, and I'm proud of that.
That's awesome. The road race also raised more than $400,000 for the St. Joseph's Healthcare Foundation. We will have the winners coming up at 7 o'clock. And a shout out to all the volunteers and the organizers as well. And I know that lots of spectators and lots of family members were, despite the bad weather, lined up to give support.
You could see there, all the umbrellas out, all of the raincoats. Props to them. I don't know if I could do it. All right, lots more to come. Stay with us after this break.